Coming up on this week's show, AEVI is here as part of the 2017 GRL Blog Tour. And speaking of GRL, the event is finally here and we've got your preview.
Welcome to the Big Gay Fiction Podcast, the show for readers and writers of gay romance fiction. If you can read it, write it, watch it, or listen to it, these two guys are going to talk about it. Now, here are your hosts, Jeff Adams and Will Knaus.
Welcome to episode 106 of Jeff and Will's Big Gay Fiction Podcast. I'm Jeff from JeffAdamsWrites.com.
And I'm Will from WillKnaus.com. This week's episode is brought to you in part by listeners just like you. We'll have more information on how you can help support this show in just a few moments. Welcome back. Another episode.
Indeed.
And
it's GRL week.
The penultimate GRL episode.
Yes. Indeed. So, yeah, we're off to Denver on Wednesday morning, bright and early. Actually, that'll still be dark and early. given when the sun comes up these days. Are you excited?
Yeah. I don't know. It's still a couple days away, so I don't have any definitive feelings as of yet, but yeah.
You're looking forward to it.
I am looking forward to it.
Is a nice way to put it, I suppose.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
How about you? Are you looking forward to it?
Well, yeah.
Okay, then. Well, then, say it out loud.
I'm looking forward to it.
Good.
Yeah, it's always a fun time. And I'm excited with the schedule that we've got and the people we know we're going to see. So I'll be talking all about that in a few minutes. Indeed.
Now, I know you didn't want to talk about GRL because you've been distracted. You've been very busy this week.
Oh, my God.
You've been...
What has this week been? I don't understand what has gone on this week.
I understand. You've been working on a book release. You've been very, very busy.
Yeah.
It's book release week. Woo! Book release.
We're going to record that and use that for later, too.
That was the book release dance. Tell everyone about the book that you're releasing this Tuesday.
Tracker Hacker, the first book in the Codename Winger series, finally comes to the light of day on a Tuesday. All about Theo Reese, who's a high school student, a hockey player, computer genius, and also a covert agent on the side. It's his first mission out in the world. He's been behind his keyboard for a number of years, working for the same agency that his parents work for, and a mission has come up that forces him out into the field and to get into some really nitty-gritty, down and dirty field work, which goes well in some ways and poses all kinds of challenges in others.
Indeed.
So, very excited about it. The blog tour started last week with a single stop, kicks into high gear on Monday as this episode drops. So I'll put the tour schedule into the show notes if people want to follow along, because there will be opportunities at each stop to win an ebook copy, and somebody from the entire tour will pick up an autographed paperback.
Yeah, you've been working very hard this week on special content for each of these stops. I know that's not easy. So
it's interesting that I discovered this tour is a little different than some that I've done before, because 3 of the stops are actually video stops, which is becoming slightly more prevalent out there in the world. I'm not the only one who's doing video stops these days. And I found that those stops were actually easier because I would just take a few notes and then be able to see them from where I was with the camera and just kind of riff on it for a while. And so I was having a very hard time typing my blog posts, and I ended up and used dictation on them to just get them done, which was going much faster. So I didn't expect that I would get that used to dictation where I would just want to do my blog post that way too. Shocking. And the other thing I did this week was, for the first time ever, I actually recorded a promo video for the book itself. The prologue of Tracker Hacker is actually Theo essentially addressing the audience, breaking that fourth wall and addressing the audience like, hi, here's who I am, and giving a little bit of his backstory. And I whittled that down a little bit, and a friend of ours has a 16-year-old son who was willing to become Theo, and we shot a video. And that will be making its premiere on probably Monday as well. So very excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah. And the other thing, one more thing about Tracker Hacker, and then we will move on.
Okay.
I'm really psyched that it's coming out when it is, because the series idea was actually born at GRL Chicago, with Z.A. Maxfield and Claire London, and a little conversation we had by the fire pit. And so it's really exciting to me that, I think it's 2 years, right? Chicago was 2 years ago, that on the second anniversary, essentially, was Chicago 3 years ago?
That was actually 3. Yeah, I had to do some quick math. I had to do some quick math in my head, yeah.
It was 3, because that was the first year we were here, because we went from here to Chicago. Anyway, as we do the math on our head, I'm excited that essentially the book is coming out on its birthday, which is pretty cool. So, yeah. So I will throw this back to you so you could talk for a while, because it's time to tell people how they can help support our show.
Yes, if you enjoy the show and like listening to us talk about various and sundry topics, you can help support the Big Gay Fiction Podcast with a monthly pledge through Patreon. And for as little as 25 cents an episode, your pledge can help pay for the costs of producing and distributing this podcast. Now, for fans who pledge at the silver and gold levels, you'll have the exclusive opportunity to ask questions of our upcoming guests. And all patrons have the option to have a personalized thank you sent directly to them. And any month that we have pledges that cover our monthly production costs, we'll produce a bonus show especially for our patrons. Thankfully, because all of you out there are so wonderful, we have been able to shoot a bonus episode every single month this year.
Yeah, it's been amazing. All of you are just amazing.
Really, really remarkable. We're very, very grateful. In fact, the moment we get through talking about GRL, we're going to hop back on and record the bonus episode for this month. So, if you would like access to all of our intelligent thoughts about...
That might be oversold just a teeny bit sometimes.
Okay, if you would like our mediocre thoughts on various topics and like to visit some of these...
bonus episodes.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with extra salesy terms, but...
Our exclusive content.
Exactly. If you want to get in all the fun of our exclusive content, you can go to patreon.com/Big Gay Fiction Podcast. That's patreon.com/Big Gay Fiction Podcast.
Well done. Salesy stuff.
Thank you.
I had the opportunity earlier this week to talk to Brandilyn, who's one of our contributors and good friends. And she's got some recommendations for us, spotlighting in particular Felice Stevens. I'm very excited to welcome Brandilyn back to the podcast today. Welcome.
Hi. Been a while.
I hear you have one book to talk to us about today, from Felice Stevens.
Yes. It is a book called One Call Away, which came out in ebook form, I want to say last year. But recently in August came out on audio, which we all know I'm an audiophile. So I listened to it in about 2 settings. It's 11 hours. But the narrator is Seth Clayton, and he brought the characters to life. And if you've never read Felice Stevens, it's a really good one to start with because it is a standalone. But it brings, for those who are Felice Stevens fans, it brings in some characters from another series, but you don't have to know them to appreciate their roles in this book. As with many of Felice's novels, one of the main characters is Jewish and dealing with a very, very Orthodox family and trying to come to terms with himself and his place in his Orthodox family, being that he prefers men. And then the other one is a former model, and he's now a radio show or a psychiatrist/radio show host who is a relationship specialist who can't hold down a relationship because of some confidence issues. You know, a fairly typical setup, but it's a beautifully written, and they get their happily ever after, but they work for it. And like I said, Seth Clayton was kind of a new narrator for me. And I think that it actually worked really well because he brought a very different voice than what we hear so much in this genre. We have some awesome narrators in this genre, but we hear them over and over. And so it was a very different voice listening to Seth Clayton reading this. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, if you haven't tried Felice Stevens, I highly recommend this. One Call Away, and you know me, audio, but it's also on ebook. So, and just because I love Felice Stevens' books, there's another one. If you're looking for a Jewish character, not necessarily dealing with his place in his faith, but still being fairly committed to his faith. Her Learning to Love series is also on audio, or at least the first one is, and it's really good. It's a dyslexic main character with a rabbi as the other main character, and then her newest book just came out was a sequel to that one, and that's only an ebook. So anyway, yes, those are turned into 3 books, but whatever.
It was a Felice Stevens triple shot there.
Yes. I've been reading her since Rescued first came out, and she has flawed but beautiful characters. Her characters aren't 2 little gym bunnies getting together. They're very real. They're all based in New York City where she lives, and they deal with everyday problems, but they do it in a way that's believable, but still takes you out of your, whatever problems you're currently dealing with yourself. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she's one of my kind of go-to comfort reads, because there's just enough conflict to keep me interested, even though I've read these books, some of them 3 and 4 times. So
I have never read Felice, and one of the things that interested me that you were saying is how she works the issues of faith in there, because we don't often see that in the genre. It comes up every now and then, but in general, it's not an ongoing theme.
No, it's not, and I love. She works them in a very authentic and natural way. She's sometimes when authors try and have a religious character or a religious theme, it gets somewhat preachy. And it doesn't deal with what their beliefs are so much as how those beliefs affect their daily life, and how those, especially with the Jewish families, and in the case of One Call Away, they're extremely Orthodox, extremely conservative families, how the religion and the beliefs and stuff, how that affects their interactions and their thought process and stuff like that. And she does a beautiful job.
I'll have to check those out, and we hope our listeners check them out also.
You should.
Thank you so much for coming to recommend these to us.
Absolutely.
And we will have you back again soon.
Sorry for the photobomb, but I'm in my living room, so
no worries.
Your favorite new YA hero has arrived with Tracker Hacker by Jeff Adams, the first book in the Codename Winger series. At 16, Theo Reese is the youngest agent for tactical operational support. His way with computers makes him invaluable. He designs new gadgets, helps agents, including his parents, in the field, and works to keep the TOS network safe. But when a hacker breaches the system TOS uses to track agents, Theo is put to the test like never before. Thrust from behind the safety of his desk, Theo must go into the field to put a stop to the hack. He's scared, but resolved because one of the missing agents is his father. And just to make it more interesting, he has to keep everything a secret from his boyfriend and teammates. Can Theo get the job done? Save his dad and make things good with his boyfriend? Find out in Tracker Hacker by Jeff Adams, available in ebook and paperback from Harmony Ink Press, Amazon.com, and other online retailers.
So I've been on a reading roll. After that little drought where I didn't talk about any books for a while, I actually have another book to talk about this week.
Cool.
It is called Myths, Moons, and Mayhem, Paranormal Game, Menage, and Erotic Romance. These stories were collected by Dale Cameron Lowry, and it was Dale who actually approached us about looking at this book. I was a little... When I first saw it, I was like, paranormal... Menage, I don't know. Especially the paranormal side, because I don't usually do paranormal books in a lot of cases. But then I read the blurbs that she gave us, because there's 9 stories in this collection. And I'm like, I think I need to read this book.
Well, that's fair.
Now, to be fair, one of the first blurb was Claire London. And we love Claire. Inside Man was one of my very favorites in this collection. It's about Jake and Benji, who are this couple who are having a bit of a rocky time, and they are seen at a bar by a ghost. And the ghost is lamentful that he is no longer corporeal and not having sex anymore, not touching other men, and blah, blah, blah. He discovers that he can actually get inside their bodies once they get back home, and they have this nice little menage thing going on with the ghost inside of him, and one of them actually realizes that the ghost was in him, and they have a little conversation. And it's all, I love the story. It was the perfect entry into the rest of the collection for me.
Cool.
As well.
Okay.
I just want to touch on a few of the others, because talking about 9 stories...
That would take up the whole episode.
That could take up the whole episode. The Secret of the Golden Cup by Rebecca Buchanan is about this college professor who ends up in the middle of a magical war to protect this cup, this important chalice. The world that Rebecca created here with the library and with her magical beings, I absolutely loved it.
Cool.
When the Big Moon Shines by Carl Redlam reminded me of Teen Wolf a little bit, because you've got this young guy who's been bitten and he wants to track down his maker, because he's under the impression that if he kills his maker, he'll be released. Mm-hmm. What he ends up is mentored. He's headed towards a mentorship by the 2 hot wolves who live next door. This was delightful. Really reminded me of some early Teen Wolf, and I enjoyed it a whole big bunch. The Cave by Dale Cameron Lowry, who collected the collection, that's good words, has a photographer who's out on an expedition to map caves, and he ends up falling for 2 paleontologists who have a little bit of magic of their own. There's some levitation, some manipulation of water, some other stuff that goes on. Very, very cool, and that one's very hot. All the ones I'm doing are also very hot, but the Cave in particular was a lot of heat in that one for me. The last one I'll talk about briefly was, I think it's called, I'm going to have a lot of trouble here, so just bear with me.
Salem's Tales by Rhiannon Brian Jones.
My husband right there, solving all of my pronunciation issues, at least for the moment. This has a young Welsh farmer who ends up with 2 fairies. The farmer's out in the woods, gets a little lost, is very thirsty after working on his fields for some hours in the heat. 2 fairies essentially rescue him and then explain that they have essentially drawn them to him because they need to join with him to save their kingdom and to rebuild their kingdom, to rebirth their kingdom is the words I'm looking for. That one also very hot and very touching in some ways too. I quite enjoyed it. So perfect for Halloween reading, as we do several tales of the paranormal here with myths, moons, and mayhem. And thank you, Dale, for putting that in front of me.
Cool.
Yeah, had a good time with that.
All right.
So we watched a fun little program last night that you discovered. Tell us all about Danny the Manny.
Danny the Manny is a web series And it is about a young 20-something guy named Danny who is barely holding it together. And inexplicably, he has managed to get a job as a Manny for this young grade school kid. So he kind of picks the kid up from school and hangs out with him and waits for mom to get home at the end of the day. And Danny soon discovers that his young ward has a penchant for cross-dressing. This little kid likes to dress up in his mom's outfits and wear a little lipstick now and then. And Danny has to kind of... He really has to think very... help me out here.
He's got to be very careful about, I think, how he approaches this. Does he?
Of course.
And he sees elements of the kid in him. In fact, one of their first conversations about it is the fact that, oh, I have pictures of me like this on my Instagram. Mm-hmm. And the boy very cutely goes, show me, please. He's a very polite child. I did notice that, which I loved. But Danny's got to kind of balance between, letting the kid tell his own story and do I tell the mom about this? And
exactly. He wants to do what's right for this young kid. And he also, since he experienced problems kind of finding his own truth, he wants to make that easier for this young child. And trying to let him know that it's okay if you want to wear your mom's dresses. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing to be ashamed of. So, yeah, he has to tread a fine line between being a responsible adult, which he's, frankly not very good at, and
that's very true.
And trying to responsibly take care of this young kid. It's also incredibly funny and very, very sweet. Mm-hmm. There are 5 short episodes. In entirety, this series is about 25 minutes long. So we recommend checking out Danny the Manny. It is available for viewing right now on YouTube. Just look up Danny the Manny.
Yeah, and we'll link to it in the show notes, of course. It was a delight. I'm glad you found that. Mm-hmm. It reminded me a little bit of About the Boy. In the relationship that Hugh Grant had with the boy in that movie, trying to guide him a little bit. And it was totally sweet. And Coco Peru's in it, and she's a hoot. Mm-hmm. Shall we talk some GRL?
I suppose we must, since it is nigh upon us.
Indeed. Nigh upon us. We are busy bees, as we tend to be during GRL. We arrive on Wednesday. We don't fly home until Monday. And it is a jam-packed few days.
Mm-hmm. Now, for those of you who have not been listening to us the past few months and have no idea what we are talking about, GRL stands for Gay Romlit Retreat. It is the U.S.'s preeminent convention for lovers of gay romance fiction. And they've been doing it once a year for several years now. This year it is taking place in Denver. We're all going to get together and have a grand old time talking about the books that we love. Mm-hmm. We have enjoyed every year that we have gone. And we are, of course, looking forward to Denver. As Jeff mentioned, we've got some additional responsibilities. This will most likely be our busiest GRL ever. Let's dive into some of the programming and what we'll be up to. So, if some of our listeners out there right now are going to be at GRL, please say hi to us. We're probably going to be running around, but if you see us, please grab us and say hi. We will most likely give you a big ol' hug.
Indeed.
And, shall we dive into what we're going to be getting up to?
Sure. So, the podcast has several responsibilities going on as well, because we were a featured blogger this year. Wednesday at 4:30, in kind of a pre-beginning of the event.
That made no sense at all.
It really didn't. Wednesday is not the official opening of the retreat, but there is some programming happening.
Yes.
Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday night. for people who get there early. We will be taking part in the featured blogger panel that happens Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. And that'll be alongside Jay from Joyfully Jay, Lisa from The Novel Approach, both of whom are contributors of ours, Denise, who is with Two Chicks Obsessed with Books and Eye Candy, Danny from Love Bites, another contributor of ours, as well as Jamie and Mel from Alpha Book Club. Now, we are going to live stream this event on the Big Gay Fiction Podcast Facebook page. So you'll have an opportunity to see that if you're not in Denver at that time. And we will be taking some questions from the audience, the Facebook audience, during that panel as well, most likely. So you could tune in for that to see us. In addition, we're going to be hanging out at the featured blogger table Thursday at 1 p.m. and Friday at 10 a.m. And then in a new thing for us and the podcast, we're planning to be live from Denver each evening around 5 or 5:30. And that'll be Mountain Time, so that's 7 o'clock-ish on the East Coast and 4 o'clock on the West Coast, with a half hour of something special. And we're going to figure that out kind of on the fly each day. And you can watch our Facebook page and our Twitter feeds during the day, and we'll let you know the specifics of the time and who will be joining us. And that'll be happening Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evening. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be kind of fun. To kind of put that together.
It'll be very, very interesting. We have in the past sworn up and down that we're going to be delivering you exclusive content from the fabulous events that we go to. And we never do because things get busy. And sometimes you forget about stuff. But this year we're going to do it.
We're going to do it because we're putting a stake in the ground on the time to do it.
Yes.
And I think there'll be other things because we'll do what we've done in the past for sure for the GRLs, where we grab some video content and throw up some on the fly stuff too. But this will be really sit down and have a little mini show. And if you miss it live, we'll be putting it out on the podcast feed as well. So it'll be out there to grab in your regular formats as well.
Fantastic.
Now, you have responsibilities of your own this year for the first time.
Yes, I have been asked to moderate some Q&A author sessions on Thursday and Friday. The first session I'll be moderating is on Thursday at 2:30. I'm going to be talking with Wade Kelly, Ian Lindley, and Kiki Borelli. That should be lots of fun. Also on Thursday at 4:30, I'll be talking with Devin Rhodes, Jocelyn Drake, and Rinda Elliott. Now, on Friday, at the crack of, 9 a.m., I'm going to be talking with TJ Clune, Kendall McKenna, and Kaylee Klein. Love them. That should be a whole lot of fun. And on Friday at 2, I'll be talking with Kay Simone, J.R. Gray, and A.E. Wasp.
I am so bummed you're Friday at 9, because I would love to see TJ and Kaylee. And Kendall McKenna is new to me, but I'm going to be off in the bookseller room, hawking books at people. So I'm a little upset about that. So my things, I'll have a Q&A session that I'll be part of the panel of Friday at 11, and I'll be with Christina Piltz, who was one of our guests on the blog tour.
Yes.
And Reese Ford. So I'm looking forward to that. I could just sit there and listen to Reese talk. So that'll be fun for me either way.
Yeah.
I have author lounges to do Thursday at 9 and Friday at 1. So you can come by and say hi, pick up some goodies, say hi to me. We can have a chat about hockey and whatever you'd like and have a good time.
Now, for everyone who doesn't know, author lounges are an opportunity to kind of hang out and talk with authors in between all the craziness that's going on at GRL. There is, of course, the big author signing, but this is a second chance for you to maybe have a one-on-one conversation with one of your favorite authors. There are several author lounges throughout the day, Thursday and Friday, at various times. To find out when your favorite author is going to be hanging out at a table, waiting to talk to you, all you have to do is look at the GRL guidebook.
Yeah, the either the printed program or the app. I really liked last year was the first year they did these author lounges in this format, where everybody had a table and you could put your swag out and have that hour to just interact with the individual authors. And it was really nice because there's a little pressure, I think, in the signings, depending on which author you happen to be, that, you know, you don't really get as much one-on-one because everybody's trying to get their book signed, and it's a huge crowd of people moving through that room. And this is a more intimate opportunity to have. And it was really nice how these turned out with the reformatting last year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to them.
And I will also be having I've got 3 shifts in the bookseller room. I know I'm there Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, and then at the indie author table, and then I've got a shift Friday afternoon helping out our good friends at Dreamspinner Press take care of their table as well. Yeah. So what are you looking forward to at the event? I know, like, from an author perspective, I am psyched that TJ Klune's back this year, and I am excited that, oh my god, I'm blanking on the name, the author who wrote 911, and Chris Owen is there this year, and I'm super excited to meet Chris, because those have been some of my favorite books, like, ever. And there's also an audiobook panel that's happening Wednesday at 9 as part of that's 9 p.m. It's a late panel that's happening with audiobook narrators. Greg Tremblay, Joel Leslie, Jason Frazier, Derek McLean, Nick J. Russo, and Michael Leslie. And TJ Klune's moderating that, and I think it's going to be super exciting to see and hear from these audiobook narrators who we're told are each going to read something from one of their books, which is very cool. Word is that this is going to be also streamed on Facebook Live, although we're not handling the streaming, but we will share it out to our audience so that they can take a look at it.
Cool.
There's a couple other things I'm looking forward to. There's a panel that's called But I'm Only a Reader. And just by the name of it, I'm intrigued by what that is. Because so often readers say, I'm only a reader. And it always bothers me when I hear that, because the readers are why we're here in the first place. So you're not just only a reader. You're very important. And it's exciting to get to interact with you guys at these events. And the authors, N.R. Walker, Jane Northcote, and Posey Roberts are doing that on Thursday at 3:30. Thursday at 9:30 at night, the Late Night with the Cocky Boys event. How can you not want to hang out with somebody from Cocky Boys for a little bit, right? And then there's game night Friday at 7:30. I ridiculously enjoyed bingo last year, and so I'm looking forward to a little bingo again. And Devin McCormick and Raleigh Hart are joining up with Elsie Chase Friday at 3 for a Q&A that I really want to go to. And I think, according to my schedule, I should be able to get to it, which is like, yay!
Yeah.
What about you? Anything in particular exciting you in the...
I like to usually play it by ear to see how I feel, depending upon the hour of the day and what is scheduled to happen. I, as well, am looking forward to the Cocky Boy event on opening night on Thursday. It's going to be pretty cool. Right now, Jake Jackson and RJ Sebastian are scheduled to do a Q&A, and I believe they're going to show a clip from an upcoming movie. Also, I understand they're going to be bringing some of the Cocky Boys themselves there to hang out and dance and party with. Unfortunately, that late night is... Jeff, I specifically am not a partier. Jeff and I usually don't stay out too late at these GRL events, but this is something I definitely want to go to and experience. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to get up way too freaking early the next day and host a Q&A, the one with TJ Klune, which is going to be... I'm expecting a madhouse. Everyone loves TJ for, quite rightly.
Yes.
TJ's a delight and always draws a crowd. So I'm probably, you probably won't find me after that Q&A because I'm going to go back to my room and lie down for a while. I'll be pooped.
I think you'll be having a nap before the Cocky Boys party too.
It's quite possible as well.
An after dinner nap.
Who can say? So
you're going to send me to bingo alone, aren't you?
Well, who knows? It's hard. It's hard to say. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, lots of really great programming. A lot of stuff to look forward to in GRL this year.
Want to be among the first to know what's coming up on the Big Gay Fiction Podcast? Join the Big Gay Fiction Podcast monthly newsletter. As a subscriber, you'll get our exclusive coloring pages that you can download and color. You can even send us your artistic creations and we'll display them in our online gallery. Go to biggayfictionpodcast.com and sign up on the homepage.
Now, earlier this week, you got the chance to sit down and have a chat with A.E. Vi.
I did.
She's amazing, number one. But number two, you talked to her a lot about a lot of interesting stuff.
Yeah, she's got a brand new book that's just come out, which is her first paranormal effort after many contemporaries.
Yeah.
And we also talked a little bit about her publishing company, which she started to help grow new authors. So it was a lot of fun. Today I'm welcoming A.E. Vi to the podcast as part of the 2017 GRL Blog Tour. Adrian is an author of gay romance fiction and also the founder and owner of Vi Star Wings Books. Her writing embodies everything from hopelessly romantic to spicy to scandalous. Her stories often include intriguing edges and twists that take readers to new, thought-provoking depths. When she's not clicking away at her laptop, she devotes herself to her family, a husband, and 4 children. Welcome, Adrian.
Hello.
We're so happy to have you here. You're actually wrapping up the GRL Blog Tour for us because by the time this airs, we're all headed to Denver.
I see that. Perfect timing.
Indeed. Now, for you, this is a coming back to GRL because you had to suddenly drop out last year at the last minute. How does it feel to be coming back?
Yes, I did. I had to drop out at the very last minute. I think I canceled maybe a couple weeks before we were supposed to arrive because I have a herniated disc in my back and not even quite sure exactly what I was doing at that time, but pulled it really bad and went to the doctor and they recommended traveling probably won't be good right now. Went through a series of pain shots and things. So, I mean, I really was trying to go right up into the last minute, but had to pull out and I was heartbroken. It's like missing a family reunion.
That's exactly what it is, right? I mean, for people who don't know, after you go once, it is like the family reunion.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to this. I've been planning for quite some time. Everything's a go. Doctors are ready. Shots are done. I'm ready to go.
You are ready for that plane ride.
Yep.
That is fantastic. Now, at the end of September, you released Prophecy, which is a brand new book. Tell us all about it.
Prophecy is my first paranormal book, or attempt at paranormal book. I'm mainly known for contemporary romance, but most people know about me, I've been an avid gay romance reader for almost 10 years. So I've read and enjoyed so many different subgenres, but paranormal have always just been something I've admired that writers could do. The world building, I've envied it, and just to be able to capture readers and put them into this completely fictional world, it's something that I knew I always wanted to challenge myself to do. And so after 14 books, that I figured it might be time to give it a whirl. So Prophecy is my first paranormal. It is a shifter vampire, True Mates book.
That sounds very cool. What was it like kind of trading your contemporary tendencies and going out with paranormal?
It was different, of course, and amazing. It felt like I could do no wrong because it's just completely, it's my world. It's made up. You can't tell me, no, this isn't right or that's not right. You know, we get a lot of that fact checking when we're writing. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I didn't maybe have to worry about too much of that. I love building a world and making them do things that are just, completely unrealistic. And I loved it. It was fun. I'm looking forward to doing more in that series.
What was kind of your inspiration to go vampire shifter? I mean, among all the paranormal things you could have gone, what led you to those?
So I have always loved shifter uh, books, vampires, and I've read a few, but there's not very many. It's always usually shifters or it's going to be vampires. There's very few that have mixed them together, and I knew I wanted to do that. I've always loved vampire aspects in books, and I've loved shifters, so I knew I wanted to put those two together, and prayed I would pull it off. And hope I did. So far, I'm happy with the response so far.
Very
I've,
good.
I've learned a lot, got a lot of good constructive criticism that I'm definitely going to take into book two. But I think the overall response is pretty good.
Do you see it being a long-term series, or is it more of a trilogy? Or
I've already capped it at 5 books.
okay,
Would it be 5 books? 4 more after this one. So I'll do the rest of the brothers, and then one like bonus story of one of the other. Hopefully, he becomes a fan favorite by the end.
okay.
I want to do a story. 5 books. I'm not a huge long series writer. I usually will try to, 5 or 6 is probably would be my max for a series. Then I start to lose track of what they're doing after that.
And if the writer can't keep track, well, then all bets are off at that point.
Yeah, my readers are having a problem too.
Now, you've also, as we mentioned in the introduction, started your own publishing company with ViStar Wings Books. How did that come about?
That came about. My husband actually said that maybe I should try to help authors, because I will get authors who are interested in wanting to start writing. They'll message me and ask me, random questions or general questions. And I'm always willing to answer. No questions, like I said, too silly, or, I'm never bothered, by the questions. And so my husband's like, you're really, compassionate and understanding and patient. You should try to help authors who are trying to start out. And so I think it was in 2000, check my cheat sheet. Yes, 2016. I was contacted by Joey Jameson at that time, and I read his story, and I loved it, and I felt like I don't really want to call myself like a publisher, because my contracts are short, and I feel like I just want to give people a stepping stone to get started. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing yet. They have a great story, and they need help getting it out there. They may not want to go with or feel even confident pitching to Dream Spinner, or, so I just felt like my catchphrase was kind of giving your book the care, the patience that it deserves from one author to another.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not really long-term publishing. I'm just a stepping stone to get out there. And then hopefully once they get out there and get confidence, then they can feel more compelled to pitch to a bigger publishing company and then expand, because I don't want to hold anybody back. I'm definitely not at the place where I can really get them, of course, where they want to be. But that first scary step of that first book or second book, I can help you with that.
And how's it going so far? You told me you've done 3 so far.
Yes, I had Joey Jameson. He since has republished, and my next was River Mitchell. Her first book, Succumbing to His Fear, was in 2016, and did really well. Got on the top 100 chart, and she has since re-signed with the new publisher, so she was ready to get out there, and she has since released in that series. So I don't hold anybody's series. They have another book, and I don't have the first rights to the series, or I don't do any of that. So she has since republished, so she is extremely happy. But I do still have J.C. James. I still currently have her under ViStar Wings Books, and her book was entitled Long Road Home, which is contemporary romance. I still feel comfortable with just contemporary right now. I don't publish everything just yet. But I do still have JC Janes, and I think she is considering to publish book 2 with me, which I'm not averse to. So I currently have one author under ViStar Wings right now.
And what are you looking for? I mean, what do you look for in general in terms of story? Besides contemporary, is there anything that people, if they want to get in touch, that they should keep in mind in particular?
Well, right now I am only looking for a contemporary, but also only male right now. Not doing any bi or lesbian, any type of romance like that. Only gay romance for right now. And full length stories is what I'm looking for. Not doing any novellas or anything. Not looking to put together any anthologies right now. So just a contemporary gay romance story is what we're looking for right now. That's my most confident. If I feel like I'm not ready to really promote and get somebody to a paranormal right now.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense to stay in your lane to offer that kind of support that you've talked about.
Mm-hmm. I love it. It's fun, and I really feel like the ladies who I work with the longest, JC and River. I mean, I felt so much fulfillment, being able to get them, at least their first, couple of works out there, because I know how scary that is to have this great story, in your heart and have it ready and just not know where to go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're intimidated with asking tons of questions to a publisher because they feel like either it's going to get them, bumped or booted, or they're going to be too high maintenance, or who knows what. So I'm looking forward to definitely doing more of that in 2018. I'm going to settle a little bit, ride 2017 out, and hopefully come back with more submissions in 2018.
Fantastic. Now, what can readers expect from you as the author as we continue through to the end of 2017?
I am right now working on releasing one more title in December, which will be the final book in my Promises series, which is the Bounty Hunters series. That will be book 4, and that will be the end of that series. So wrapping that up for 2017.
Okay. And I know you brought along a giveaway for our listeners. What have you got for them?
I did. I have a prophecy swag pack put together. There's all types of things in there. Will be a signed book by me. Then also coffee mug, calendar, 2018 calendar, magnets, bookmarks, a lot of cool things in there for you.
Fantastic. That's going to be quite the get for somebody. We will put a Rafflecopter on the show notes page for this episode, and folks will have the chance to enter all week long.
Awesome. Thank you.
And what's the best way for people to keep up with you online?
I am big on Facebook. I don't mind being contacted on Facebook, but also, Facebook. I prefer Facebook.
Okay. And Facebook is great because pretty much everybody hangs out over there. So,
yes, you can contact me through my website, but Facebook, you'll get a very fast response on there on social medias.
Fantastic. Well, Adrienne, it's been so awesome catching up with you. I'm glad we got to have you on the tour.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Look very forward to seeing you in Denver.
Yes, thank you. I look forward to seeing you too, Jeff.
The Big Gay Fiction Podcast is thrilled to once again partner with Gay Romlit as a featured blogger. You can see all the participating blogs and the full GRL Blog Tour schedule at gayromlit.com/2017 blog tour. Gay Romlit is an annual retreat that brings together the people who create and celebrate LGBT romance for a one-of-a-kind must-attend gathering of dynamic, informal, and diverse fun. Each year, the retreat travels to a new city and hosts tons of events from raucous parties to mellow tete-a-tetes, while still maintaining a spirit of familiarity. GRL is the place to connect with old friends, find family you didn't know you had, and meet with both newly published and established authors in the gay romance genre. This year's retreat is set for October 19 through 22 in Denver, Colorado at the Denver Marriott Tech Center. For more information or to register, please visit gayromlit.com. So yeah, it was great talking to AE. Look forward to seeing her in Denver because I'd like to hear more about her publishing company endeavors because that's pretty awesome. And to remind you, she does have a Rafflecopter out there. to get you an awesome swag pack as well as a copy of the new book. So make sure you take advantage of that in the show notes this week.
That's at biggayfictionpodcast.com.
Yes. Where else would it live? Of course.
Well, you can't just assume people know.
I suppose that's true.
You gotta tell them, man.
BigGayFictionPodcast.com, the show notes for episode 106.
Show them where to get the stuff.
And this is a good one. That swag pack, as you heard in the interview, is jam-packed with goodies. So you want to make sure you get registered for this one.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, coming up next week on episode 107, we'll be coming at you live from Denver, and we're going to bring you our thoughts on GRL 2017.
Yeah, that's another new one for us. We've never recorded a show somewhere else, a full episode. So wish us luck on that one.
Yeah, cross your fingers. We'll see how it turns out.
If we're not in the podcast feed on Monday, you'll know what happened.
So guys, remember, no matter where life takes you, whether you're at home or in Denver, the journey will always be sweeter when you have a book with you. So until next time, guys, keep turning those pages and keep reading.
For detailed show notes and the complete episode backlist, go to biggayfictionpodcast.com. New episodes are available every Monday on all major podcast distributors and YouTube. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.